Oisei. Hine hakoyach la'avodah hanal, the strength. How do we have the strength for the avodah, the level of chinuch, b'charbi, b'kashti, that the Rebbe was talking about before? How do we have that koyach? Al yidei Moshe Rabbeinu. We get it through Moshe, our teacher. As the Rebbe will explain, Moshe Rabbeinu and the Ispashtus of the Moshe and the Moshe Rabbeinu that is within us ourselves. As explained in the above Maimer, the Maimer of וקבל היהודים. So, Mashakosuf, this is what the Pasuk says, V'ato tetzave es b'nei Yisrael gomer, that you shall command, but here he teaches is you shall connect the b'nei Yisrael. The tetzave hu loshin tzavsa v'chibur, the tetzave comes from the language of together and connection. And the ato, who is the one that does the connection? Koyi b'pshute shel mikra, in the simple meaning of the verse, who is the ato titzava, you will connect? Who is the connector? So that is on Moshe. That goes on Moshe. V'hispashtu, so the Moshe b'chol dora v'dora, and the expansion of Moshe that is in every generation. We don't only mean here the leader of the generation, but Moshe's expansion is in every yid. Shebekol echad miYisrael, in every Jewish person, yeshnei mibchinas Moshe, there exists from the level of Moshe. K'ti'isa b'tikunei Zoyar, as we find in the Tikunei Zoyar. And it was brought down in the holy letters of the Alter Rebbe that we all have the level, a spark of Moshe in us. And this that we say, it's not only that it's somewhere hidden, obscured, that spark of Moshe, but it's actually revealed. Ubechol echad, by every individual, in a bechinas Moshe sheboi hibigilui, the level of Moshe which is in the Yid is open. Ad she mishum zeh yira milsa zutrosahi, that because of the level of Moshe that the person possesses, the level of fearing Hashem becomes something small. As the Alter Rebbe explains, Legabe, towards him, for him. As the Alter Rebbe explains, that as the Alter Rebbe on the first page, when the Gemara asks, Ato ma Hashem shoyil mi'imach ki'im liyira, what does Hashem ask of you but to fear him? The Gemara asks, Ato yira milsa zutrusahi. It says, what I ask is asking is to fear. That's not something very small. Why is the pasuk make a sound that it's small? And the Gemara answers that relative to Moshe, it's small. So the Alter Rebbe discusses in Tanya, so how does this answer the question? But Ato Yisrael, Ma Hashem L'kecha Shoel Me'imach, we're talking about what Hashem asks of you, not of Moshe Rabbeinu. So what does it help me that next to Moshe it's easy, but Moshe is saying it to the Yidden that it's a Milsa Zutrusihi. And the Alter Rebbe explains that the level of Moshe, of the Tikunei Zoyar, that the level of Moshe is in every person. And it's in a level that it's open so that the Yira is a Milsa Zutrusi. And this level, and that level of Moshe, which is by every individual, Jewish person, mechaberes be'oifen, the tzapsa v'chibur, that connects in a way that of a connection and a bind, which is titzaveh, you should bind together as shoresh haneshama. What does it bind? It binds that level of motion. The person connects the root of the neshama lehaneshama lemeshes beguf, that ties it, the root of the neshama, to the neshama which is dressed in the body. Number one. And even further, it connects the Shodesh HaNeshama v'nefesh habahamis v'gufoy v'chalkei ba'olam, with his animal soul, with his body, and with his portion of the world. What connects the root of the neshama to the neshama in guf, to the nefesh habahamis, to his body, to chalkei ba'olam? That's the level of Moshe, which is the Tetzaveh. That level of Moshe connects all these pieces with the Shodesh HaNeshama. As koyach, and that gives the strength, the power, kosis lamoir, that it should be kosis that should be crushed, which goes up to the moir, which means the kosis. Why is he crushed? Because he is pressed and he's broken. Because the neshamas descent into this world to this lowest world, there is nothing lower. This is as low as you can go. And the neshama came down all the ways into this level. This is a tremendous descent. Ki afilu kisha'ilam hazehu betachlis hashlemus. Even as this world stands in its ultimate wholesomeness, on its best level, nikra bira amikta, it's still referred to as a deep abyss, a deep pit, a deep hole. So this is, even in the best of situations, it's still a bira amikta. The Mezem move on. So from this we understand she'etzem hadover, this matter by itself, neshama yarda la'olam hazeh, that the neshama, the soul, descended into this world. That's a tremendous descent. Knowing and realizing that the holy neshama comes from the highest of levels, and it comes down into this world, into a very tremendous descent. So, Batzad Hayirida, so because there is this descent, Av Shehu B'matzav Shel Tachlis Ha'harchava B'gashmis B'gam Beruchnis, even in his own condition, the person is in total comfortable, both physically and also spiritually. And yet, how could that, what is this counted? How is this valued? This comfort that he has physically and spiritually, relative, measuring it relative to his standing and his true situation, that was before the descent, that he was like an only son of Melech Malch Hamloch HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is the level of the neshama before the descent. As known, the example in the Maimer, the Hemshech of Tafresh Samavov, Hine Hakosis, from this being crushed, and Nishbar, that is broken, and Nitke, and he's subdued, so then you become a luminary. You reach to the luminary yourself, to the source of light. Kinis Khalil, as mentioned earlier. Well, Pi Hanal Yuvon. So based on the above, we'll understand Mashikosu, what the pasuk says, וקבל היהודים eis asher החלו לעשות, that the Yidden accepted that which they had begun. They finally accepted, and that was during the time of the decree of Achashverosh, and the Yidden were on a very low level, and he asked before, how could Heichelu Lasis at the time of Matan Torah, that's the beginning. Here they accepted. How could that be? So it explains the Hagam Shebishas Matan Torah Hoyu Yisrael B'Tachlis Hamayla. For although at the time that the Torah was given, the Yidden were in the ultimate advantage. Ba'oz Kvar Niten Hakoil Kinis Galil, and everything was already given then. The Rebbe mentioned earlier that there won't be another Matan Torah because Matan Torah was only once everything was given. But yet, still, at that point, it was only, they began to do. It was only the Haskalah. Haskalah Bavad, the opening along. How was that? Because what they had over there was from above to below. They gave them milmailo, and that came down below. But the avodah but later on, in the work that we do in the time of exile, Bisman Mordechai Esther, during the time of Mordechai and Esther, when there is the force of exile with a darkness that is doubled and quadrupled, at the time of Mordechai Esther, as it was literally, it was a very dangerous time, and they were given over for annihilation. So then the work, the service is from the perspective from the ones who are down on the lower ones. The וקבל היהודים, that the Yidden accepted. They are the one that came from Mata. That wasn't there at the time that the Torah was given. So the first thing is that then it was milmailo lamato, but kibel hayudim milmato lamailo, under those circumstances that started in the time of Mordechai Esther. But is, in addition to that, shebehavoida shebizman hagolus, that in this service that takes place in the time of exile, there is an advantage relative to the time that the Torah was given. Because it's specifically in Golus, and where the sustaining of Torah happens, that they accept Matan Torah. That is only considered the beginning. They started to do because it's specifically during the time of exile. Whether we're talking about exile literally, but also the chain, and likewise midakusa in yonim. Also in the refined level of these matters, not necessarily talking about the literal godless, but in his own standing. When the person reflects, similar to what we have mentioned earlier, even after all the matters that he accomplished, that he impacted through his service, even if they were in the total wholesomeness, Ubechinas Golus, he is still in the level of Golus Beruchnis. He's still in the level of Golus Beruchnis. Why? Since Hashem helps him, he has the ability to reach to even a higher step. Until to totally without any comparison, much higher than he was. Similar to the language of our sages, a blessed memory, they say Yogaito umatzosa. When you put an effort, you will find. Shamitziya he shaloi be'erech yigiyosu v'ishtadlusei. The finding is not compared to the effort and his hard investment, but you're finding it's much greater. So when you are in Golus, whether it's literally Golus, or you're in Golus and your feeling of your Avodah that you hadn't really reached, because as much as you fulfilled in completeness, but since Hashem helps you, there is much more and infinitely more that you could reach. So this brings about a situation of Golus, and the person is broken. So each and every one is broken and subdued. So then you reach to the moir itself. So now the Rebbe is going to connect this idea that the avodah that comes through the tachtonim reaches into the higher level with the shear of the portion of the Chumash, with the parsha of Mishpatim, with the parsha of Kisiso, in which he said, "Nimtzochein be'einecha." The Rebbe explained the pasuk. Yes, the kasher mashin is barely ill. We can connect, tie this that was explained earlier. The great advantage, which is when the work comes from the lower ones, through this, the is that the way we sustain that which they began to do. So we can tie it in Parshas HaShavua with the portion of the week. And within the portion of the week, Im Hashir the Hayoim, with the portion of today, the Yom Hashlishi of Tuesday. What is Tuesday is Shehuchbal Boy Kitov, that there is 2 times in the Torah by the Tuesday when the creation says the pasuk twice Kitov, which the Gemara says is Tov LaShamayim v'Tov LaBriyos. It's good for Shamayim Tov LaBriyos, a special day of Tuesday, which the created being, what was created on Tuesday was good, both for Shemayim, both for Briyos. And this is our Pitakonas Kreitushas Meidachon Admur, based on the Takona, was instituted by my father-in-law, the Rebbe, Lilmed B'chol Yemi Yimois HaShavua, to learn every day of the week, Parsha Achaz B'Parshas HaShavua, one portion, one section of the portion of the week. So that portion, Pi HaMevur B'Maimorim, to explain what's written in the pasuk of today's Parsha, connected with this idea, based on what is explained in the Maimorim, Ubefrat B'Maimer Kvet Kiddushus Admur Morashab Nishmos Yeid, especially in the Maimer of the Rebbe Rashab Nishmos Yeid Shalifnei Shishim Shana, that was said 60 years ago. The Parsha Seinu, on the Parsha Laposik, it says, "V'ato im no motzosich ein beinecho." Moshe Rabbeinu was pleading with Hashem and saying, "If I please find grace in your eyes, Goimer," and then he continues to say, "Leman emtzoch ein beinecho," so that I will find grace in your eyes, Goimer. And further, it says, "Ki motzosich ein beinecho," that I found grace in your eyes. And the Eberster says, "Ki motzosich ein beinecho," you found grace in my eyes. All about chen, chen, chen. Because you found chen in my eyes, we will be distinguished, me, Moshe, and your people, the Jewish people, from all the nations that are on the face of the earth. The v'niflinu k'inyan nifla is badly ill. Niflinu is similar to the nifla that was explained earlier. Nifla is kesed. The Rebbe said that the Friedrich Rebbe uses the question in a way, a nifla, that the Zman of Mordechai and Esther was the kiyum more than what it was in Matan Torah, that it's davar nifla. So here it's also, we get to the level v'niflinu because of mitzvah. So the Maimeri asked, Tzarich Lahavan, Mahi Hamayla Be'inyan Hachein, what is the advantage in the idea of the Chein? Moshe Rabbeinu bikish, that Moshe Rabbeinu requested, V'hivtzir kol kach. He insisted so much al zeh for this. This was the ultimate wholesome of his request. He says, all the idea of the chen, through this chen, that will make us to the level that we will be distinguished beyond me and your people. This is through the chen. But the question is, but the pasuk says, sheker achen, false is the chen. Why would he want the chen? The who, so it explains this, mipnei. The reason why sheker hachein is because chein is an arousal that comes from above on its own. But the yesh yisrein godel, there is a tremendous advantage with what comes through an arousal from below. So therefore, the chen alone is take sheker hachein, but the chen that comes from a serusa de letato has a great advantage. And over there he explains in the Maimer. The Rebbe Rashab explains the Maimer. Yes, no bechinas isarusa de leilo hanimshach laachari serusa de letato. There is an arousal of above that comes after the serusa de letato. Shezehu hamshacha mibchinas atzmus ein sof. That is extends from the level of the essence of the ein sof. She'ein isarusa de letato magas l'shon klal. Over there, the arousal of below cannot reach there at all. V'hurak b'bchinas matone. And that's a gift. So that is Sarusa de Le'ela that comes after the Sarusa de Letato, comes from such a place in which the Sarusa de Letato cannot really touch. And only he gets it as a gift. Hanikra, that is what's called Matnas Chinom. So the word Chinom, a gift, free, is Lashon Chen, Shul Lashon Chen Hulu. Rak, so if it's given for free, but it's only given for free, that extends only after completely having the sarusa deletato. And then you get the gift. How do we say both things? We say it will kamoy gabe matona. This is similar to what we say when a person gives a gift. The Amr Razal, our sage of blessed memory, said, he loved the Ovid lay Naichel and Ashikulu. Even if he did not give it something good, he would not give him a gift. But what does it mean? He's not paying him for what he gave him. Hagamshi b'mchinas matona. Even though it's the level of a matona. If he pays him, it's not a gift. It's a gift, but it's a gift which also comes as a result that he did something for him, but it's shaloi be'erach what he did for him. V'nei avodo shabozehi, So what is the avodah that we're talking about to do a neichel and nafshi in order to get this great isarusa delaydo? Is to move on al pi hamevur b'maimishon, based on what it's explained in the Maimer there, the yeshnoi inyan ha'amuna shebibchinas memalakulav. There is the level of amuna, the faith, which is in the level that fills the world. In the malakulav. Ach bibchina ach zu shayich sheyeh me'ein zeh gam b'chasidi u'masoylom. But in this level of amuna, in the level of the Malikul Almim that fills the world, over there, it applies that some of it can also be by the righteous of the nation of the world. V'ad shebi Yisrael efsher shebechinas memalukul almim, by a yid, it's possible that level of Malikul Almim tiyeh bechinas yediyah, that it should even be in a way knowing, not even amuna. So it should even come down in a recognition that he knows it. But the Iker ha'amuna the neshamas Yisrael, the main amuna of the souls of Yidden, u'b'madregas soivel kolam, that's in the level of soivel kolam. The amuna zu shayeches rak b'Yisrael, that belief only belongs and connects only with Yidden, not by the Umasoilam. This is what the pasuk says, Shema Yisrael. Listen, Israel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hashem is one, Hashem, our God, Hashem is one. Shezeu inyan ha'ka'abola v'ha'amuna b'bchinas soiv kulam. That's the acceptance and the amuna in the level of soiv kulam. Ubazeh nemar Shema Yisrael davke. It's only Yisrael, specifically Yisrael, and not Ubazeh. Shamuna zu hirak b'neshamas Yisrael. That belief is only in the neshamas Yisrael. We say Baruch Shem Koid Malchusei Leilam Voed, bring down, that refers to the reflection of Malach Olam. And that's not unique. That's why it doesn't say Yisrael over there. Shema Yisrael is the Sefer Kolam. But if Malach Olam is Baruch Shem Koid Malchusei Leilam Voed. This also fits, and this is also what we find in the Zohar, the Ayin, the Shema. We have a large Ayin of Shema, the Hadalad, and we have a large Dalad of Echad. Hein Oisyes Rabosi, those are the large letters. By Yidei Tzirufam, when you combine the Ayin and the Dalad, Nas Tevas Eid, it becomes the word Eid, a testimony. So what do we have? What is aid? Aid, you testify something which is not obvious. You don't need testimony. You have to tell you something which is not known. So we're talking about Soivim Kula Almin, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu is a Soivim Kula. Umevuer, B'kama Mekoimis, it's explained in many places. Now, Dover Hanigla, that on something which is revealed, which is open, ain't Tzarich Ve'en Shayich, we don't need, and it doesn't really apply testimony. Furthermore, we say that something which is destined to be revealed, even if it's not revealed, still the Torah did not require testimony for that. And Dava Milsa of his Gluri, the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, the Rebbe brings down over here. So when do we need testimony? Specifically, when there's something which is completely hid, when it's a level of Sefer Kulam. That's the Shema Yisrael. This is what we're saying. Listen, Israel, Hashem is Echad, the Yid. The Ko Yal Kol Echad Echad Yisrael. This applies. It goes on each and every one of the Jewish people. Shehem Dafke Ha'edim Hamari'idim. They specifically are the witnesses who testify. The Havaya Echad, that Hashem is one. Ad Shebechol Ma'im Edu Matzav Sheyeh Ba'avidosei. Any standing, any situation that the person is in his level of his service to Hashem. In Ekol Echad ve'Echad Yisrael Eimer Shema Yisrael. Doesn't make a difference. Every Yid says Shema Yisrael. That means that every Yid testifies Hashem Echad. As explained in the talks of my father Mudra. So the Ches, the Dalet, the Echad, when we say Echad, of the word Echad, so we have the Ches and the Dalet of the word Echad. The Ramzin al Zayin Rikim Ba'aretz, they hint on the seven heavens and the earth. That's the Ches. The Dalet Ruchesh Ha'olam, and the four corners of the world. That's the Ches and Dalet. The Ha'alef of the word Echad, the Ramez is that hints to the master of the world, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Yisrael ba'avidosam poyalim liyos echad. The Yid, through their service, they impact that it should be echad, that the aleph should go down in the ches and dalet. Hainu shemamshichim ba'ilo. They draw down into the world, which is beches v'dalet, in the ches and dalet, as aluf shaloilam, the master of the world, ha'aleph. They bring the aleph into the ches dalet. Ad sheyis ardu, to the extent that the aluf shaloilam of the world become fused, they become together, bedugma l'tevas echad, similar to the word echad. Shaha'aleph hiteva achas imaches v'dalet, that the aleph is one word together, the ches v'dalet. The toichen hateva atzma, and the meaning of this word in Ardus is also the meaning of one. Uba'ifin kazeh, and in such a way that is it fused. Shaha'aleph da'aluf shaloilam yiyeh rosh v'ascholas hateva, the aleph, which is represents the master of the world, that should be the head and the beginning of the word Yodal. So that is the avodah of the Yid, to bring down the echad. This is all the level of Sefer Klam. Bascholas atevine aidei sarusa deletato zu davedes Yisrael b'bchinas Sefer Klam. Through this arousal from below, the Yid works in the level of Sefer Kol Almim. Havaya Echad. Havaya is one. So we're saying that in Avodah, that we're saying that your mamshich, the Sarusa de Laila, from even a higher place, B'chinas Matona, in a mamshichi, B'chinas Sarusa de Laila, so then you bring down relative to relative to Sarusa de Latato. First, you bring down the Sarusa de Laila, which is relative to Sarusa de Latato, but later on, Nimsha B'chinas Sarusa de Laila Shalemailo Mibchinas Sarusa de Laila Shalde Sarusa de Latato. A higher level of Sarusa de Laila than the Sarusa de Laila that comes from the Sarusa de Latato. The B'chinas Sarusa de Laila Hanimshachas Alidea Sarusa de Latato. The Sarusa de Laila that comes down through the Sarusa de Latato. That's a level which is still in comparison to the order of Hishtalshlus. And we can say that level is also in the Pasuk, the Gamal Zeh Koyi Masha Kosuv, Hine Malochi Yelech Lefanecha. Pasuk says, Hashem says, my malach will go before you, which is the Sarusa de Le'ela, which comes from the Sarusa de Letato. Bakoshas Moshe Hoya, what Moshe was asking, Sheyiyah Hamshachas B'chine Sarusa de Le'ela, Shalamayla Mizeh, a higher Shemitzad Atzme that comes by itself, not from the Sarusa de Letato. The Ato, what he's saying is, Ino Motzosichein Beinecho, if we find chen benecha inyan hachein, the idea of chen, once the chen, which is the grace, which is a higher level, Yisrus level is by itself. Ad sheyiyeh v'niflinu aniva mecha, so that it will be that people will distinguish niflinu, separate on a much higher level. The koyi b'sfiris. When we talk about sfiris, goes on sfiris hakeser, goes on the level of keser, level of pelad, level of niflinu. Pnimis hakeser, the inner level of keser, level of atik. Ba'ad la'atzmusei u'bahusei yisbarich, until the essence of Hashem's essence and blessed most. So, why do we need the person's avodah first of Serusa de la Tata, Serusa de la Elo? Dagam, the Ispchine Serusa de la Elo zu nimshechas misad atzme. Although this level of Serusa de la Elo extends, comes down on its own. Hainu she'eni Serusa de la Tata magir l'shom. We said that the Serusa de la Tata cannot actually reach there. So, why do we need the Serusa de la Tata when the Serusa de la Tata does not change that? It comes on its own. Shem does not rest only in a place which is wholesome. First, we need the work in the lower one, by the lower, in this world, in a way of arousal of below. And to bring down Isarusa Leila, which is relative to Isarusa Dilatatu. The Oz, and then Ba'asar Shalim, then when you done, you made the place wholesome by drawing down the Isarusa Dilatatu that comes through the Isarusa Dilatatu, Nim Shachliyas Kuchub Brichu Sharia. Then we have the Abish the resting. Kuchubrichu Sharia Ba'asar Shalim. As explained in the Torah and Shirashim. Ches. This is what the pasuk says, that the Yidden accepted that which they began to do. Through the self-sacrifice that they had. It was a time of Golus. We made Mordechai Esther in the days of Mordechai Esther, Paulu, Hakim, the Torah of Matan Torah, they impacted sustaining the Torah of Matan Torah. The same thing is true every year and year. When these days are remembered, they actually are done. We are accomplishing the same now as then. All the matters the way they were the very first time. It's known, the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, that when the Mishnah says one who reads the Megillah backwards, he hasn't fulfilled the obligation. What is the meaning tied to the Baal Shem Tov? The Mafreya, the Kshekriyas HaMegillah, he thinks, he reads the Megillah in a way that this happened in the past. It's a matter that took place in the past. If that's the way you're reading the Megillah, you didn't fulfill it, because you got to make it relevant now. You got to live with that now. The Megillah is a lesson in the service of man, during old time, an old place, for each and every one, for every man, for every woman, including the lesson that we take from Mordechai and Esther, from the Megillah that we're reading. It's not lemafreya, but we take it presently, that we stay with self-sacrifice. And this takes during the whole year, as we said, that they stood that the Yidden stood b'mesiras nefesh. There was no machshavas chutz. That means that the entire year, meaning all changes, seasons come and go, doesn't affect the person. So it does not even apply to a Yid sheyala daita afilu machshavas chutz chas v'sholom, even to have any thought of the outside. So this is even a thought. Certainly not to say anything or an action outside of total devotion and self-sacrifice to Hashem. And this self-sacrifice brings that for the Yidden there was both light, joy, and happiness, literally in the pasuk. You said, and that is based on Magnomas. At first, the Chazal, as the rabbis translate, Oiros or Torah, that Yidden had Torah adli v'yikor elu tefillin till v'yikor that tefillin. The koi al kol sinyan hamitzvos, which applies. It refers to general mitzvahs, even though we're singling out and we're saying Yikor is tefillin, because tefillin is representative of all mitzvahs. Because all of the Torah has been equated to tefillin in the pasuk, as the pasuk talks about to remember all of the Torah through the tefillin. It's tefillin is like all the Torah, all the mitzvahs. And we also educate the children of the school with this. As we find in the Medrash, that the Mordechai Shol Eitzel Gimel Tanekis, that Mordechai asked by 3 children, Psokli, Psokli, Psukech, give me their pasuk. And they answered, don't be scared from a sudden fear and from the tranquility of the evil that comes about. You may counsel, advice, but it'll be annulled. Speak words that's not going to take place because Kimonu Kel Hashem is with us. And finally, the third pasuk, Zikna Nihu Vatseva Ni Ezbel. Until old age, I am he. Till old age, I am going to take care. My load, Ani Osisi Vani Es, I made and I will carry. Vani Ezbel Amalit, and I will escape you. So this was the 3 psukim that the children conveyed to Mordechai. Once Mordechai heard such, he started laughing, and he was rejoicing with a great joy. So it should be to us. That everybody should do work of service with light, joy, with happiness, with preciousness, as all of the matters as they've been articulated in the expounding of our sages of blessed memory, which includes all of the Torah in these psukim. And for sure that Hashem will fulfill His promise. I'll give you rains in a timely way. And all the blessings that we find in the parsha, till there will be light, joy, and sausage, literally, and we'll make one redemption close to the other redemption, Purim, from the redemption of Purim, the Gula Hamid Vashlema, to the true and complete redemption of the Mashiach Tzidkenu, to a righteous Mashiach. Although for temporary, for a short while, in a Akati Avdi Achashverosh, we are still slaves of Achashverosh, so we're still in Golus. In a Bekorev Mamish, very soon, Bagola Didan, very soon, Yovim Mashiach Tzidkenu, righteous Mashiach will come, V'yigolenu redeem us, V'yelechenu k'memius la'atzenu, and He will lead us with raised up to our land, B'meirev Yameinu Mamish, speedily in our days.